critiquing the 48 laws of power. Laws 1 to 10. The power of the superior. Laws 1 and 2. Law 1. Never outshine the master. Robert Greene's, quote, always make those above you feel comfortably superior. In your desire to please or impress them, do not go too far in displaying your talents, or you might accomplish the opposite, inspire fear and insecurity. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. The Fab Four. Breakdown. Earl, as the narrator. In your 30s and 40s, your talent is often your greatest enemy. Law 1 tells us to dim our own light so the sun above us doesn't feel threatened. Machiavelli, always sharp and pragmatic. This is simple survival. A master who feels insecure is a master who will destroy you. Let them take the stage. You take the results. The Buddha serenely offers, it is a lesson in the death of the ego. If you have no need to be seen as the smartest, you find a quiet freedom. Arrogance is a target. Humility is a shield. Jung, intense and aware of the impending danger. You are managing the superior shadow. If you trigger their fear of inadequacy, they won't see your work. They will only see their own darkness reflected in you. Marcus Aurelius has this to say, if the role requires you to take a back seat for the sake of the common good, do so. Your internal worth is not dictated by the applause of a fragile man. This is Stoic. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Robert Greene's quote, be wary of friends. They will betray you more quickly, for they are easily aroused to envy. They also become spoiled and tyrannical, but hire a former enemy, and he will be more loyal than a friend, because he has more to prove. In fact, you have more to fear from friends than from enemies. The Fab Four. Breakdown. Machiavelli, with a cynical grin. A friend thinks you owe them. An enemy knows they owe you their life. The math is simple. Gratitude is a weak bond. Necessity is an unbreakable chain. Don't you just love it when Machiavelli makes it so clear? Marcus Aurelius, with a sigh. A friend is someone with whom you share virtue, but Greene speaks of companions of convenience. Do not place your tranquility in the hands of the fickle. If they come to believe you are playing them, their response could vary from indignation to outright war, and you will have brought it on yourself. Jung offers some insight. We project our ideal self onto friends, which leads to an inevitable disappointment. They aren't that. They are not your projection. You want them to be that, but they are what they are. Now, on the other hand, an enemy is a clear projection. You think you know exactly who they are and what they want. The Buddha, softly, offers some basic truths. To divide the world into friend and enemy is the root of conflict, but if you must work with men, know that their cravings will always drive their loyalty. The Strategic Veil, Laws 3 and 4. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Robert Greene. Keep people off balance and in the dark by never revealing the purpose behind your actions. If they have no clue what you're up to, they cannot prepare a defense. Guide them far enough down the wrong path, envelop them in enough smoke, and by the time they realize your intentions, it will be too late. The Fab Four. Breakdown. This is the fog of war. For the mature strategist, transparency is often just another word for vulnerability. Jung, eyes bright. This is the persona at work. If you are a glass house, anyone can break you. You must have a sacred interior that the world cannot see. Machiavelli says dryly, if you show your hand, The game is over before it begins. Use honesty as a lure while your true purpose remains in the shadows. The Buddha, detached. Silence is the ultimate concealment. When the mind is still and the tongue is quiet, the world has nothing to grab onto. Marcus Aurelius, thoughtfully. I value the truth, yet a commander does not show his maps to the opposing camp. Protect your purpose until it is ready for the light of day. Make this a firm rule. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. Robert Greene. When you are trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear and the less in control. Even if you're saying something banal, it will seem original if you make it vague, open-ended, and sphinx-like. Powerful people impress and awe by saying less. The Fab Four. Breakdown. The Buddha carefully agrees. Right speech. A single word of peace is better than 1,000 hollow ones. The man who speaks less hears more of the truth. Machiavelli has this to say: silence is an interrogator. When you stop talking, others feel the need to fill the void. They will give you their secrets just to stop the discomfort of your quiet. Jung, grinning. You are invoking the sage archetype. By being sphinx-like, you force them to project their own fears and hopes onto you. You become a mirror, not a person. Marcus Aurelius, briefly. Ask yourself, is this speech necessary? If the answer is no, stay silent. Power is self-control. The Fortress of Reputation, Laws 5 and 6. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Robert Greene's quote, reputation is the cornerstone of power. Through reputation alone, you can intimidate and win. Once it slips, however, you are vulnerable and will be attacked on all sides. Make your reputation unassailable. The Fab Four breakdown. Machiavelli, vehement. Reputation is the only reality the public knows. If you have the name of a lion, you rarely have to fight like one. Guard the image, or you lose the throne. Jung delivers a warning, but beware. If you become your reputation, you have committed psychic suicide. The persona is a tool, but it is not the self. Marcus Aurelius, with a dismissive attitude. Reputation is just the clapping of hands. It is outside your control. Focus on your character. That is the only thing that survives the fire. The Buddha poses a question. A reputation is a bubble on a stream. It is beautiful for a moment, then it pops. Why guard a bubble with your life? Law 6. Court attention at all cost. Robert Greene's quote, everything is judged by its appearance. What is unseen counts for nothing. Never let yourself get lost in the crowd, then or buried in oblivion. Stand out. Be conspicuous at all cost. Make yourself a magnet of attention by appearing larger, more colorful, more mysterious. The Fab Four. Breakdown. This is the neon law. In an attention economy, being invisible is the same as being dead. Jung. In an analytic mood, this is the hero's call to be seen. If you don't step out of the crowd, you remain an undifferentiated mass. But the cost is the loss of privacy. Think of a Hollywood actor. The more well-known they become, the less privacy they have. Their fans will criticize who they date, where they live, and how they spend their money. Machiavelli, who is now cynical. Better to be hated than ignored. At least the man who hates you is thinking about you. Control the narrative by being the loudest thing in the room. The Buddha, his breath, sighing. The magnet of attention also attracts the arrows of envy. To be unseen is to be safe. Why court the lightning? The Stoic, Marcus Aurelius, sternly warns, Seeking the gaze of others is a form of slavery. A true leader stands out through their deeds, not through their colorful costume. The leverage of energy, laws 7 and 8. Law 7, get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Robert Greene's quote, use the wisdom, knowledge, and legwork of other people to further your own cause. In the end, the helpers will be forgotten and you will be remembered. Your energy will be saved and you will seem to have a godlike efficiency. The Fab Four. Breakdown. Machiavelli. Smirking. The cat's paw. Why burn your own hands when you can use a glove? The credit is the currency of power. Spend it wisely. The Buddha firmly observes, this is a theft of merit. You may take the credit in the world of men, but the karma follows the worker, and the debt follows the thief. Jung. Fascinated. This is the vampire archetype. You are consuming the life force of others to sustain your own myth. It works until the helpers find their own shadow and see themselves in the basket of your achievements. Marcus Aurelius, writing in his journal, it is a lack of justice. To take credit for another's labor is a sickness of the soul. True efficiency comes from a well-ordered mind, not a stolen report. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. Robert Greene. When you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It is always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him with fabulous gains, then attack. The Fab Four breakdown. This is the home field advantage. The one who travels is the one who tires. The Stoic, nodding in agreement. Stay in your inner citadel. If they want something from you, they must meet you on your terms. You remain the unmoved center. Machiavelli, tactical positioning, bait the hook with their own greed. When they move toward the lure, they are leaving their defenses behind. That is when you strike. The Buddha, with compassion, you are exploiting their tanha, their craving. You're using their own suffering to lead them into a trap. It is effective, but it is not the way of peace. The victory of action. Laws 9 and 10. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Robert Greene's quote, any momentary triumph you think you have gained through argument is really a Pyrrhic victory. A Pyrrhic victory is a victory that inflicts such a devastating toll on the victor that it is tantamount to defeat. The resentment and ill will you stir up is stronger and lasts longer than any momentary change of opinion. Demonstrate, do not explain. The Fab Four. Breakdown. The Stoic, standing up. Yes, this is the way. Don't waste breath arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The Buddha, nodding. A finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. Words are just air. The deed is the reality. Machiavelli offers a practical look. An argument creates an enemy with a hurt ego. An action creates a reality they have to accept. Don't talk, deliver. Jung, deeply impressed. This is the move from logos, word, to ergon, work. When you act, you manifest the archetype in the physical world. It is undeniable. They is demonstrated power. Law 10, infection, avoid the unhappy and unlucky. Robert Greene's quote, you can die from someone else's misery. Emotional states are as infectious as diseases. The unfortunate sometimes draw misfortune on themselves. They will also draw it on to you. Associate with the happy and fortunate instead. The Fab Four. Breakdown. Jung, with a grave concern, psychic contagion. We are porous beings. If you surround yourself with chaos, your own unconscious will begin to mirror that chaos. The Buddha mindfully observes, choose your Sangha, community, carefully. If you sit with those who dwell in anger, you will eventually find your own heart growing cold. Birds of a feather flock together. Machiavelli, blunt as ever. A drowning man will pull you under just to get a breath. Compassion is fine, but don't let a sinking ship be your ride home. Marcus Aurelius, guiding toward balance, be a doctor to the sick, but do not catch the plague yourself. Keep your internal firewall high. The juxtaposition, the mask versus the soul. And there is the divide. The first 10 laws are the survival code for the palace. Do you shine too bright? Law 1. Do you talk too much? Law 4. Or do you guard your reputation like a fortress? Law 5. The Buddha. Just remember, Earl, the fortress you build to keep others out eventually becomes the prison that keeps you in. Machiavelli, winking at Earl. Better a secure prison with a view than a free grave in the courtyard. I, Earl, hear you both. And you both are correct. I will keep my fortress, my inner citadel, secure with consciousness and loving care. I am not attracted to a personal prison nor a grave in the courtyard. This concludes our look at laws 1 through 10. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Which of these first 10 laws did you have to learn the hard way? Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We're going all the way to 48. Keep your mind tight and stay loving.